Hello everyone, my name is Teresa Lewis and I'm the Director of the Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization. Today we're providing training to you on your role and responsibilities as the OpDiv or StaffDiv administrator for the Procurement Forecast Data Repository system. The annual procurement forecast, is designed to provide general information on upcoming or potential procurement opportunities within the Department of Health and Human Services. It does not guarantee a contractor that they will actually receive a contract or that HHS is going to actually award a contract. It does not provide that type of guarantee. What it does say to them is this is something considering, and that it provides them with information. It also allows them to have a conversation with HHS about that potential opportunity. So today the conversation is, what are your roles and responsibilities? What we've done is we've asked our contractor Insight to assist us with providing training to you on how to perform your duties. So let me welcome Chris. Chris, thank you so much, and I really appreciate you coming out and joining us on providing training today. Good. So I'll turn it over to you, Chris.
Great. Thank you, Teresa. Today we're talking about the OpDiv and StaffDiv administrator training. For your role as the OpDiv StaffDiv administrator. This is a very exciting to do. Things like managing organizations and what the contract opportunities listing page looks like and how you can interact with it. Your role as an OpDiv StaffDiv administrator allows you to manage really people and their roles in the PFDR system. So what we'll do today is we'll actually have some slides that we'll kind of go through, and we'll kind of talk about really what you'll be doing, and then we'll actually get into the application, and that way you can see really how to log in, what it's like to manage users and roles, how to manage organizations, and then really how to work through workflows which manage how a contract opportunity moves from contract opportunity origination through review to finally final approval, so that once that final approval happens, it's public and viewable by the general public. So your role as a Procurement Forecast Data Repository OpDiv StaffDiv administrator allows you to manage and do all those things. And so the PFDR's purpose, again, is to provide internal HHS users a centralized access point and repository for procurement information. It also provides industry a centralized entry point for viewing HHS procurement information. So to get to the Procurement Forecast Data Repository, you can go there two ways. You can go through the hhs.gov small business website, or you can go directly to pfdr.hhs.gov. When you go to the website, if you're not already logged in via the single sign-on, you'll be given a login screen for your username and password, or you can use your PIV card to gain access. So once you're logged in, you will end up at the Procurement Forecast Data Repository Contract Opportunities listing page. At the very top, there will be some blue buttons, and you'll see that in a second when we get into the actual website. But it's a little blue button that's got people on it. That's our Manage Users button. When you click on that, you will actually get a listing of the users that are currently in the system. It'll have their name, possibly a title, the organization that they're in, email address, and their phone, as well as a green and red icon. Those green and red icons, the green icons allow you to edit a person's information, and the red icon lets you make that person inactive. You'll also see at the very top there's a keyword search, which allows you to type in a name or title or organization to search through the list of users, as well as an advanced search, which allows you to really granularly filter through the names and people that you're looking for. So to add a user, you can click on that green add button, and that will take you to the manage user form. And there's two boxes. There's a person information and a role information. And in that person information box, the first name, last name, and email address are required, as well as the organization is required. And so what you'll do is you'll put in their first name and last name and whatever their title is and their email address, and it does check for a valid email address. So you want to make sure you have, whatever their email address is at whatever.com or .gov or whatever that's supposed to be. And their username, their phone, whether they're an active or inactive user. And then at the very bottom, we have a user option as well. This is where you can add someone as an OpDiv administrator. So if you need to add another administrator, you can do that using this form. For things like contract opportunity origination, review, final approval, that all happens in the workflow process, and we'll get to that in just a second. So once you've got all their information in, you can click on that Save button, and it will save that user to the system. If you put everything, decide, this isn't for me, you can click that Cancel button, and that'll take you back to the Manage Users form. To edit a user, we'll click on that green pencil icon, and it'll bring you really to the same page, except all their information will be currently filled out, as well as it'll show their role information at the bottom. So see here in this box near the bottom, the Administration for Native Americans and the Office of Child Care. This user would be a OpDiv administrator in those two areas. Next, we're going to talk organizations. The way our workflow system works is each organization has a workflow for it, and what you do is has our OpDivs, our StaffDivs, as well as the sub-organizations for those areas. And so our organization area allows you to manage those organizations, add additional organizations, edit or remove any organizations that don't need to be in there. And so just a quick overview. On the left-hand side of the screen, it says organizations. That is a hierarchical listing of all the organizations in the system. And so if you click on the title, it will actually, if it's got a little arrow next to it, it'll actually up and show what the sub-organizations are, and so on and so forth down the line. When you click the title of an organization, you'll see it goes blue, and it'll to add a sub-organization, to edit the name of that organization, or if there's no sub-organizations below, you can delete it. And I'll show you that when we get into the website. So to add an organization, you would just click the Add button, and it will open up and give you an organization name field. You would type in the name and click Add. Now, before we get into really the workflow tool, we'll talk about really how the workflow process kind of works. So what we have is you as an OpDiv or StaffDiv administrator, you actually select and assign personnel to workflow roles. You get to develop the whole workflow process from contract opportunity origination all the way to final approval and public viewing. And so every organization has a workflow, and every workflow has two steps automatically added to it. We've got an origination step and a final approval step. And what you can do is you can add people to those steps, and then honestly you're done if you need to. But you can also have multiple contract opportunity review steps. And so so what we want to do is kind of walk through this process as to really how to make this workflow work. So to get to the Manage Workflows area, in the very top are the icons, and you'll click on the Manage Workflow icon. That'll take you to the Manage Workflows area. If you are an OpDiv administrator of multiple organizations, you'll see this Choose Organization button. If you're an OpDiv administrator for one organization, it'll just take you right to the workflow for that organization. And so if you choose an organization, it pops up this box, and it's very much the same hierarchical tree that you'll see organization area. And so what you'll do is you'll pick an organization and click Save. And that will open up the workflow management for that area. So this is the workflow for Center for Surveillance, Epidemiology, and Laboratory Services. And you'll see the workflow steps that we discussed earlier, the contract origination step and the final approval step. You'll note that the members say 0 on each of those. And so this is a brand new workflow for this organization. So what we'll need to do is actually add members to those steps. And so if you need to add any contract opportunity review steps, you'll do so using the little link at the bottom, that says Add Workflow Step. So you'll click that, and you see here that we've added 2 workflow steps to this organization's workflow. Contract origination, contract review, and then final approval. And so what you to do as an OpDiv administrator is assign people to contract opportunity origination. Then you can have a group of users that do just review, and then when they're done doing review, it gets sent to the next group to do more review, and then finally to the final approval group for them to be the final sign-off and have it be available online. So to add a member to the step, we'll click on the title of that step. So let's say contract opportunity origination. When you click that, that will open up a little box, and you can see this one. This organization doesn't have any people. This certain step doesn't have anybody in it. And so to add someone, click that Add Member to Step, and that will open up the People Picker. Now, the great thing about the People Picker is it's fantastic for finding exactly who you're looking for to add to that step. You can filter down by operating division, or you can click at the very top on one of the letters, click the Filter People button. And what that will allow you to do is actually filter that list of names down there. Filter that list of names down there to really get who you're looking for. And so once you find the people for that workflow step, you'll check the names you'll check the boxes next to their name, and you'll click Save. And so as you can see, we've added Alex Adams and Bart Benson. We've checked boxes, and once we click Save, we'll see that those 2 users are in that workflow step people box, as well as the members have been updated. It says 2 next to it. So once you've got your people in there, you'll need to go through and add all the people to your steps. Well, if you don't add anyone to intermediate steps in the page, so the areas with the red box, the contract review steps, if you don't add anyone to those steps, when you click Save, it will remove those steps from the workflow. That way the contract opportunity, as it's moving through the process, doesn't get stuck in a step that's got nobody in it to review it. And so also before you save, you have to make sure that you've got people in the contract origination step as well as people in the final approval step. It's very important to make sure that we've got people that can create our contract opportunities and then really ultimately sign off on them and make them available to the public. So once you've got all your people in the correct steps, you'll go ahead and click that Save button at the bottom, and that will save really what you've done to the workflow. So now that we've got everybody in our steps, it will reload the page after you've saved it, and it'll show you the member counts for all of those steps. So you can see contract origination's got 2, the review step's got 1, another review step has 1, and then really 1 person for final approval. And so that's actually a completed workflow because it's got all the members in the right places. So I'm going to talk about the contract opportunities listings page. And what we've done is really we've wanted to make this whole application extremely easy for you. And hopefully you can see through the managed users and the organizations and really the workflow that it's really intuitive and really kind of easy to use. And so we did the exact same thing when it comes to contract opportunities. What we is we built a system that allows you to quickly search and really filter what you're looking for, as well as an interface that's designed to be intuitive and easy to find stuff. So on our contract opportunities page, you'll see at the very top we've got a keyword search, which works very much like Google. There's also a link there for advanced search and quick search. And then below we show how many entries are actually in the system, and the ability to change how many entries are shown at one time. So you'll see that little box there that says show 50 entries. You can actually change that to be 10, 25, 50, or 100. And then over on the right hand side we've got our previous and next button, and you can see it's got a 1 highlighted. That means there's one page in the system. Certainly as more contract opportunities get in the system, you'll see more pages available. As well as the big green add button, and that add button allows you to add a contract opportunity to the PFDR. So when it comes to search, we have provided a keyword search, and it works very much like Google does, where you can actually type in the name of what you're searching for and either hit enter or click that search button and turn back the results for that meet the parameters that you've searched for. The advanced search really lets you filter down to a granular level by allowing you to pick certain fields to filter by, to search by. So if you're looking for a certain project title or opportunities that are under a certain contracting OpDiv or that are a certain requirement type or competition type, you can actually go in here and actually select multiple options in each of those drop-down boxes, as well as if you're looking for contract opportunities that meet a certain date requirement, you can a date range to look in the system for those things. And then finally, our quick search really allows you to quickly find certain predefined set of parameters that's really all set up for you. So currently in the system we've got contract opportunities awaiting my review, contract opportunities expiring at the end of the fiscal year, and contract opportunities from my organization. And clicking on any of those will return back the search results that meet those parameters. And finally, the other thing with the table that all the stuff is in, we've got sortable headers and columns. So each one of those headings, you can actually click the heading and it will sort by that column. You can click it once, it'll sort ascending, and you click it again and it'll sort descending. Just again to make it easy for you to really find what you're looking for in the system. So there are roles for the PFDR. We've got our folks that are contract administrators, our contract opportunity originators. Then we've got finally somebody that will sign off as a final approver, and then we've got you, the OpDiv or StaffDiv administrator, who's responsible for managing all that. And it's a great responsibility. You've actually got a lot of access and are able to do a lot of things in the system. And so before we get to the conclusion and before we get to questions, let's actually get into the system and see how it works and see how it flows, and we'll show you around. So we'll hop over to our browser, and the first thing I see when I go to pfdr.hhs.gov, NIH Secure Single Sign-On. Now this will allow me to sign in with my username or password, or if I've got my PIV card handy and a card reader, I can put that in and click Login, type in my PIN number, and I'm into the site. And so when I get to the website, I'll come to the Contract Opportunities page, like we saw earlier. As you can see, since I'm logged in, we've got our buttons at the very top, as well as our search, our keyword search, advanced search, and quick search. And if I scroll down, we've got our contract opportunities listing, and these are some contracts that were put in earlier today. The contract opportunity earlier today, and as you can see, there's no icons here. And the reason why there's no icons there is because these two contract opportunities have been signed off on final approval, and they are now viewable facing side of the PFDR. And so these two opportunities have been completed from contract opportunity origination through review and then finally through final approval. And so let's go take a look at all those areas that we discussed in our PowerPoint presentation. And so I can click on this Manage Users icon, take me to the Manage Users page. Again, it gives me the Search Users functionality, and I can click this Advanced Search, which allows me to choose, really from first name, last name, title. I can go look for certain organizations, their email address, a phone, and then really whether they're an active or inactive member. I'll go ahead and close that box. And as you can see, there are some users that are already in the system. It shows the organization and their email addresses. Their phone and title are not in there at this time. If I click on the name of the user, it will give the really the user details. It kind of looks like a contact card. And so it's got their email address, their title, their phone number if they've got it, and whether they're an active or inactive user, as well as that they may have. If I was to click on someone else, you'll see they've got their name and the office that they're in, their email address, and their active user. And if they've been assigned as an OpDiv administrator, it will show that in this area. So to add a new user, I would click on the Add button, and here is the area that you would fill out, add in their personal information. You would click the Add User Role, and could easily pick from any of the organizations or sub-organizations and choose one of those, and then you would click on the Choose Role and choose them as an OpDiv administrator. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. If I was to go to our organizations area, you'll see that we added an organization called Training Organization, and when I click on that, I get some options. I can add or edit. So if I choose Add, I can add a sub-organization. To that training organization. So see, now it's got a sub-organization underneath that. And really, you can have multiple levels. Nope. If I could type today, that'd be good. There we go. And so you can really kind of have multiple levels for the organizations. And now, if this sub-organization has not been used in a workflow, if there's no contract opportunities that actually use this as a workflow, then you can delete that, and I can click on Delete. If I click on one, then I can actually edit it, and it actually does put the name right in the box for you to edit or change that name. Now, this organization already has a contract opportunity assigned to it that's gone through the workflow, and so you'll see here that the delete option is grayed out. Because there's something in the system that is using this organization, we can't remove it at this time. So now if we go look at our workflows, we do have our workflow management, and I'm going to grab that training organization, and you'll see this workflow has got it's got 3 steps. It's got our contract opportunity or origination, our contract opportunity review, and then really final approval. And so when I click on that, it actually opens up and shows me the users that are in those steps, as well as their organization and their phone number, and what we've done. And you can actually put the same person in more than one step. So if you wanted somebody that's in the group to be in the final approval group, you can absolutely do that. The system will allow you to do that. And so so there's all of our steps for contract review and contract origination. And so if I was to, let's say add a contract opportunity, it gives me the contract opportunity information form where I would fill in all the information. Now again, all of these drop-down boxes do have, they're already pre-populated for you. So for things like contract type, competition type, requirement type, the operating divisions for funding and contracting, as well as the fiscal year contract ranges, total contract range. You can have multiple places of performance per contract opportunity, and multiple points of contact per opportunity. And then down here at the bottom, you'll see we've got a little workflow box. Now, when this contract opportunity is available to the public, they will not see the workflow box. They'll just see really everything up to where it's the point of contact and estimated dates. So this workflow box allows you as an administrator or a reviewer to actually see the process that this opportunity's gone from origination to approval. And so if we were to click cancel and go back to one of these testing contracts that we've created, you'll see that all the information's filled out. And then if I scroll down here to the workflow status, we'll see that this was approved, the organization that it was submitted under, and then the different and what user did those actions. So whoever was in the origination group would have their name, and that they created the contract and set it to step 1. And then in the review group, you'd see really who the contract reviewer was, and when they saved it and set it to workflow step 2, and then this reviewer reviewed it and approved it, and then finally the user in the final approval step who clicked that approve button and made this contract opportunity available to the public. You can see here we've got some comments, and if you click on that link, it'll actually display the comments when the reviewer or final approval and they click that approve button. It pops up an approval box, a comments box that allows you to enter in comments to get your approval or disapproval. And then finally, the other icon at the end is the information icon, which allows you to go to the Office of Small Business and Disadvantaged Utilization for you to contact anybody that you would need to contact with questions or anything like that. And so, so if you have any questions, go ahead and submit those at this time. We'll actually be taking questions at this time, and Teresa is going to come back in with some questions and frequently asked questions. But yes, next week there will be a pilot program starting on Monday where you as an OpDiv administrator can get into the system and start assigning users and roles to the system, and really what those workflows are going to look like, and what those workflows are going to look like, and really kind of how the process is going to work. So as an OpDiv or StaffDiv administrator, you'll be able to get into the system and start using it on Monday.
So Chris, again, I just want to say thank you so much for assisting us with conducting the training. And
yeah, I mean, it's my pleasure to be here, and again, I'm very excited about this project, and your office and our company have really worked hard to really build a solid system for you guys, and really you as OpDiv administrators have such a great responsibility, but just the to get in there and really manage workflows, manage users, manage the organizations, and
Absolutely.
really get these contract opportunities from origination all the way out there so the public can use
Absolutely.
them, and really that industry can really get more involved in what you guys are doing here at HHS.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
very excited.
So thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.